Record. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Pete Caliendo. Hey, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it today. And this is Baseball Outside the Box. Thanks in the U.S. and around the world for joining us. We appreciate it. Listen, all we ask is one thing. We're glad that you're listening and you're helping us getting the show out. We really appreciate it. But do us a favor, go to YouTube, subscribe at Peter Caliendo. Again, that's YouTube, Peter Caliendo. Just hit the subscribe button. And if you can share it, that'd be fantastic. That's what gets the show out and really helps us out. Again, the show's free. So thank you very much to all our fans in the U.S. and around the world. Hopefully you're enjoying all the shows. We try to bring you some of the best people in the world who love the challenge, the status quo. We got some of the top experts, not only in the U.S., but also everywhere in the world. And today we got an international guy we're going to talk about in a minute. Don't forget, Caliendo Sports International is going to Cuba Christmas break. And in Cuba, we are going to compete against some great Cuban teams, also practice with them, understand the culture, take a look at the culture. It's beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful place. That is 16, 15, and 14-year-old team. We've got some spots still open. So if you're interested, email us at caliendo19@gmail.com. We'll get you all the details. If you're a coach that wants to join us for the trip, fantastic. If you're a player, and we also have families that come with us. So thanks again. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget, Caliendo Sports International travels all around the world in December and also in August every summer. So look forward to any information. Just let us know. All right, folks, listen, we got a great one today. We always think we do. And we're going to tell you, we got a gentleman from Mexico, Marco Mendoza, and outstanding. He is with MLB International as a consultant. He's been all over the world, Mexico, South Africa, Costa Rica, Argentina, Ecuador. And what does he do? Trains coaches. You got to love it. What did I always say in the show? In order to develop the sport in any country, any level, you've got to have great coaching, not only at the high levels, because that's important, but most importantly, at the younger levels. That's where you grow the game, and that's where you keep them in the game. So remember that. Grow the game, keep them in the game. That's the key. Marco Mendoza has done that all over the world. And get this, at 17 years old, he was pitching for the Mexico City Diablos. That is the top Mexican summer league. Can you imagine at 17-year-olds, if you know the Mexican League, it is outstanding. They get a lot of big leaguers in the U.S. from there. And he also pitched in the 7th game of their World Series. Incredible. Studied psychology, state police correctional officer, which developed a program for kids to get out of jail and develop into sports. And we're going to talk about that. So let's not waste any time. Let me welcome my good friend, Marco Mendoza. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo?
Muy bien, Pete. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the invitation. And I really appreciate all your words, but it's so good to see you every day and all the good guys that come and leave all their knowledge and all of their experience. That has been so good for me because like you say, we got to keep learning always and then share the learning, share the experience of learning, and the passion we share is baseball. With that vehicle of the baseball.
And I should tell everybody, Marco Mendoza, I can't believe I've done over 90 shows just on YouTube. That's why I want you to go to YouTube and subscribe. Hit that button. It helps us because obviously you'll get updates on new shows. But I've done 90 shows just on YouTube. That's not counting BaseballOutsideTheBox.com, the audio, which has been going on for 3 years. Marco Mendoza has been on almost all the shows, listening, learning, asking questions. And this guy's been around the game. So we're not talking about a rookie coach here. We're not talking about a rookie in the game. He's outstanding. And just to give you an idea how much he learns all the time. So it's a thrill to have him on the show. Marco, let's do this because let's talk about quickly. I want to get an idea. I want the fans to get an idea here about your baseball background when you were younger. When you started playing, obviously Mexico has a lot of passion for the game. Kids start just like in the U.S. very young. When did you start and how did you get to the major leagues there?
Well, like everybody else here in Mexico, we got a baseball tradition. I come from a family. My father didn't play professional baseball, but he plays in a semi-pro league here. And I live in the coast Pacific side of the country where baseball is being played since always. I live in Culiacan City, so where the winter league is being played. And then we have a lot of tradition with baseball here in this part of the country. Baseball is being played in all Mexico, but the passion of baseball here is great. And so I just grew up watching all the guys playing baseball. And then I fell in love with baseball since I was 5 years old. I started playing Little League at 6 years old. So when I started watching Fernando Valenzuela, who I met him on TV, we always watch his game. And then my first uniform I had when I was 6 years old was with his number 34. And I always said was I will play with Dodgers. I will be like Valenzuela. That was my dream. That was the thing I always was thinking about. But the thing is that being I didn't know I was going to play to be signed for a major league team. So 30 teams in the big show. A lot of things could happen. And then I got signed with Dodgers, and then I get to meet Fernando, and he was my coach, and a lot of things happened like a dream. And that's the experience I like to share from the beginning when I sharing my stuff. When I am sharing that if you dream it, it is possible. If you do it the right way, you will increase your chances to have whatever you want and the proper way, mostly.
Absolutely. Hey, I was going to go on, but I can't go on because I got to stop you on a couple things here that you said, which is outstanding. First of all, shout out to Marco Mendoza, who was the national team coach with the Mexican national team, who in Japan, they beat the U.S. and now will be, for the first time ever, congratulations to the Mexican national team, will be in the Olympics in 2021 instead of 2020, obviously. Marco Mendoza, is known for the Mendoza line. So I'm going to get him on the show too. Great guy like you. But I just wanted to get a shout out. I know
my pariente, we met like 2 years ago. Like he lives like 200 miles from here, from Culiacan. He lives in Navojoa. And then we met to do some clinics together in Hermosillo. So everybody asked me if your father, is he your brother or something? No, we're not related, but everybody talks to me. Hey, you are family. But great guy that you will have a great show with him.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it. But listen, the other thing, you mentioned Fernando Venezuela, and I got to ask you because you said he was your coach. So one thing that I have to ask is your experience with him and some of the things that you learned that really helped you from Fernando.
Well, mostly Fernando is not the type of guy that it has. He didn't have to learn a lot of things. He has the magic to throw the screwball. And there's one thing I learned from him, that he has this elephant memory. He told me, I remember every hitter I face. So when I pitch to them, I know where am I going to strike. I know my sequence, how to pitch them, where do they like to swing, and what pitch am I going to use next and the next and the next. And then they didn't have that type of help like we have today with the statistics and then all the things we have. You guys are using now cards on the cap to get to know how to pitch. And then Fernando, he told me, I remember what to pitch to every guy. So he has that great memory. And then he was so brave on the mound. He wasn't afraid to throw the ball. He wasn't afraid to throw strikes. He wasn't afraid to throw the screwball over there. That's the thing I learned from him. Because everybody wanted me to throw the screwball, but it was hard for me to do that. He was unique. His screwball, and he used to throw it 3 different types of screwballs. There's a thing that not too much people know about it. The screwball of Fernando mostly throw it like this, and then the normal screwball. But he used to throw it to the outside and down, only down. So it was so hard because he didn't throw you the same screwball always.
Wow.
So that was a difficult thing for me to learn. And my Brito that signed me, he told me, you need to learn like Fernando. You need to go and look up like him. And I couldn't do so. So his hand was smaller than mine. And we were very different. So Fernando told me, be yourself. Just be yourself. And that's the thing I learned from Fernando. And then it was a great guy to be with. A lot of lot of things that helped me mostly was that just be yourself and don't be afraid to throw the ball over the plate. Let them get out themselves.
Mm.
Sometimes you think they're better than you because they're bigger and they're stronger. No, they're gonna help you. They get themselves out. Just throw the ball over there. Don't be afraid. And that helps me a lot. But I had the opportunity to have great coaches. Uh, when I finished up my little league experience, I went like to world tournaments, and I went to the national team. When I was 16, we used to go, if we wanted to play professional baseball here in Mexico, we needed to go to academy that it was called Pasteje. That academy was a really, really good development program, one of the best development programs I ever seen. But it happened to be for 12 years in Mexico. So from 82, 92, 93, from 82 to 93, each year you used to spend 10 months in the academy getting into development and only 2 or 3 months playing baseball, but mostly develop the way of throwing a ball, develop the arm, getting to know the fundamentals of baseball and all the stuff to get together everything so we can play in Mexican League, to go to Mexican League, or either way, if you were good enough to get signed to a major league team. On my generation, it was Juan Gabriel Castro, Ismael Valdez, Antonio Zuna, all the guys big leaguers, and then it was a very good generation. So I got signed with Dodgers, but first I played 1 year with Mexico Reds. And my year as a rookie, I played when I just got out from the academy. And that was a real good experience, real good experience. Being myself playing with Mans, I was 17 years old. I learned a lot because there were a lot of experience of the guys, old school guys. Yeah, but there was one thing I learned it later. I wanted to throw like men do, like throw hard every day. And then that thing I couldn't do because I was 17 years old, and they used to play to throw hard every day. If I was on the bullpen, I used to throw hard every day, and I was a lot of volume of work for my arm. That's when it started the thing I learned later, and things that we're sharing now about the number of pitches you have to throw during the week, during the season, and all the stuff. But in those days, in 1990, there was not too much information about that. How many balls you can throw a week and all the stuff. But that was one of the experience. Playing the final game, the seventh game, I was pitching against Sultanes de Monterrey at 17 years old, and that big, beautiful ballpark in Monterrey was packed with 27,000 people. I was so happy to be there. The owner and the manager, Cananea Reyes, one of the best managers of Mexico, great guy. He was sick in those days, and before we get to go to Monterrey City, he told me, "You're gonna open the seventh game in Monterrey."
Wow.
But I cannot go. Are you afraid? No, just give me the ball. I'm ready to go. It was a challenge for me. It just was one of my dreams. So we get to Monterrey, and there was another manager because Cananea Reyes couldn't make the trip because he was so sick of his cancer on the throw. He couldn't make it. So I went there. I was expecting to get the ball, and they didn't give me the ball. And they say, "Hey, Cananea told me I was going to open the game." And then the owner, Mr. Mansur, Roberto Mansur, and Diablo Montoya, who was the manager, said, "No, we're going to give the chance to a more experienced guy, and then if we need you, we're going to use you as a reliever." And I would say, "I'm good to go. Give me the ball." I was like that, fighting with them. And okay, at the fourth inning, we were losing by 7 runs. So I went with the owner, and I started getting the glove here and then watching him and say, "Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball." And the fourth inning, we were losing, but I just wanted to go in. I said, "Just go to the bullpen." And he wasn't finishing telling me, go to a bullpen, and I was there just throwing like a devil. So, I pitched the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth inning, and I struck out 8 guys in a row.
Wow. Wow.
And I say, come on. I say, if you gave me the ball, we could have won that championship. So we lost that championship, but that was the experience. And then a lot of good things happened later. I was throwing just cheese. I was throwing real hard that night, but it was a real good experience for me. And then that's how started my baseball career as a pitcher.
Love it. Great story. And, you brought up a lot of stuff there. So I'm going to back up a second because I want to, unpack some of this. And especially when you talked about Mike Brito, obviously for everybody, Dodger scout, shout out to him. Very famous. Always seen Dodger Stadium behind with the hat and everything. Got a chance to meet him in Japan. Just a super person, also manager of the national team at one time. But what I want to ask you is, I want to go back to Fernando for a second because, another thing I heard about Fernando, which you're just like him in this case, is that he always played with older players, instead of playing with his same age because he was that good. And a lot of times, we have players, young kids who are really good and we're afraid to bring them up a little bit, but it's good for them sometimes because they need to experience tougher competition. So you had to do that also. That helped your career?
Yes, it did. It did because sometimes I couldn't gel to people that I can do it. I can get out guys from this level, but who's going to believe you? So you just want the opportunity to show that you got the talent and you got the guts to be there on the mound and to start a good career. The other part that I didn't measure up, I didn't realize was, okay, when I started and then when I showed the manager, the coaches, and the owner that I could be there and compete with the big guys and experienced guys, is the physical part of being there, that my arm wasn't ready to throw the number of pitches to be competed with them like they do. It's like, okay, I did well, so they started using me often because I used to throw strike. I used to throw, Dave Wallace used to be my coach in minor leagues with Dodgers. And he used to tell me, you are so young and you throw inside like a veteran, because I love to throw inside to the guys, inside, up and in, inside on the knees, and that and all the stuff. And that thing helped me out to be there competing with the big guys. Mm. But like the coaches look back then, like, he's good, he can get out, he's brave, he's gonna get out everybody. And I was throwing hard. I used to throw just fastball and curveball, just like that. I used to throw inside, outside, up and in, curveball, from the side, from the top, and all the pitches from strike whenever I wanted. And they treat me like a veteran. But that meant that I was on the bullpen every day, and then I started some games. Mm-hmm. But my arm wasn't ready to support the number of pitches I used to do every week. And then back then, we didn't get the same conditioning, arm conditioning. We used to run like horses, just like that. No weight training, no, nothing, not even a rubber band. I'm talking about 90-90. Maybe in the big leagues, they used to do stuff to get some shoulder strength, back strength program. We didn't have that in Mexico by then. The only thing we used to do to work is run like a horse, my brother, run like Forrest Gump, just like that, just like that. And I used to run like a crazy guy on the highway. Used to run like that, and I was. Everybody knew me because when we came to a tour, we're doing it outside on the road. In the night I was running, and in the morning I was running, and then to the game I was running, because I thought, hey, if I run more, I'm gonna throw hard and I can throw more. And I was tired. Nobody told me that. So
Marco,
there are the things we didn't know, and I didn't know because I was so young. I just wanted to keep pitching because I was doing so good. I just wanted to keep doing it, doing it, doing it. And that's the thing. Nobody knew about the
right.
workload, the
And
workload.
now take Marco Mendoza now. The things he knows now, what would he do different if he knew that when Marco Mendoza was 17 to 20 years old, when it comes to getting ready, strengthening the arm, what would you do different now?
Obviously, get some upper body strength work because all the work used to be lower body, mostly on my back and my shoulders and forearms. Forearms are so important to get strength because you get a lot of help if your forearms are strong. And then run less because
Mm,
I don't work to be a marathonist. I work to be a pitcher. And the movement, the physiological movement of a pitcher, it has to be with a different thing than running. Because when you pitch, you do like a sit up and stuff like that. It's a different move. It's more like, it's not aerobical movement, it's anaerobical movement you're doing. So you need to get strong in mostly on a specific parts of your body that they don't have to run like a horse.
mm-hmm.
But you got to make a lot of repetitions that has to be functional with your mechanic, with your delivery. So nowadays, all the strength programs that you see on dry line and stuff like that, and a lot of good things that are happening, it has to be with the physiological movement and the delivery. So that's the part you are getting stronger, flexible, and getting velocity out of it. So that's the thing that's the thing that it was the difference now and then. That's the thing. And now I'm 47 years old. I'm doing that. I'm doing the work they do on dryland for me because I would like to experiment. I had surgery in my shoulder, but I'm throwing again. Like 10 years ago, I had that surgery. And I'm all the things I learn and I teach, I I make the experiment. I used it with myself. I want to feel. I want to feel that. And there are a lot of things that I'll learn about it. And I want to feel all the things that I've been learning from guys like you and all the coaches, Dave Wallace, Tom House, all the big guys. I do that. My arm is healthy now. And there are a lot of things that if I knew this, only the half of this, I tell it to my son right now, you know, right now, you know more than me when I was 27, 30 years old. You have right now 16 years old, and you know more than me when I was 30. Because now kids have a lot of information about the physiological mechanic, the fundamentals of baseball, all thousands of drill specifically for one thing to get better in each situation, on each part of the body, on each situation of the game, what to do. All the what to do is there. But as a coach, one of my philosophies is this good for you? As is good for the guy that is doing it on the video? Or you need something different because you're a different guy?
Mm.
And that's the thing we tell to the coaches. Watch out. There is a lot of video. There is a lot of information for all people over there on the net. But be sure it's the right information you need for the kid you're training. Because maybe it's a different situation on the physiological side, on the biotype, on if a lot of things are different. So you need to get to know what is good for the kid you're training. Not all the things are good for the kid you're training. It's good for the guy that is doing it on the video. So we need to be very aware of that and very smart and intelligent to see the difference.
And that's a big key. I mean, that is probably one of the biggest changes in the game today. That is, training individuals and not training everybody the same. I love what you
Exactly.
said about, if you're going to teach something, why not do it a little bit so that way it's easier to teach. Now, especially in pitching, we're not going to teach everybody the same.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that possibly we are teaching the same that could be detrimental to the development of a pitcher? Are we doing some things that are incorrect that could actually hurt a pitcher that maybe we thought was good 20 years ago?
Yeah. I've been working on mostly like now bodies are stronger now because the physical preparation is better, and you get guys stronger and more arm speed and all things. I'm a truly believer on the proper way of the arm action that has to be connected with all the physiology of the shoulder. I study a lot that in terms of medical issues, the shoulder and the elbow, and the route of the hand. That's why I call it morphophysiology of the delivery. I call it like that. It's all the route of the hand. It's like you have the route of the swing is the same thing. Or the route of the hand when you do the separation, where has to be each part of your body in order to be efficient and healthy to do a good delivery, a good throw.
And that's why it's different for every pitcher. We used to teach it the same.
It is.
But it's different for every pitcher because everybody's different.
Exactly. And there is a fundamental thing about arm angle or your release point angle. If you have guys that throw from downhill action, high three quarters, sidearm. But there's one thing that is always going to be there is the position with the elbow and the shoulder on the labrum that is going to be always the same. And we see that on video, in photographs, and sometimes shoulders are different. Some are sloppy shoulders, some are different types of shoulders, and it's going to show you different things. But there are fundamental physical things that is going to be always like that. So there are things that happen to be different. But when you take a picture of guys, when they're doing the pronation and the supination and all the stuff is the same. The elbow is in the same place always. The thing is where to get into the strength position to do it the right way and to have efficiency in your delivery and a healthy delivery and to throw hard, but not only to throw hard, but because there's one thing I'm watching now in the games, you get to see a lot of guys throwing 97, 100 miles. You get to see more young guys throwing very, very hard. But that strength is killing a little bit the command. You get to see now on the StatCast, you get to see pitch over here, there, and you see when they miss a lot of the spot, when the catcher is calling a pitch, ball is here, calling a pitch, ball is there. Maybe because they're stronger, they're throwing stronger, and they like to throw harder. But still, though, there is a good thing happening. Everybody's getting stronger, and everybody is throwing harder. But they need to throw more strikes, and they need to hit spots. But that's the thing that is going to be fixed, because everybody going to realize that everybody needs to get there. But the thing is, it's been changing a lot. And then they used to tell me that I had to do all the around my arm, put my like a hyperextension to my arm and do this. And there is a relation between lead arm and arm action. If my lead arm I mean, or my arm action is long, my lead arm is long. If my arm action is short, my lead arm is short. Like this guy that already threw the no-hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Cholito.
yes, they changed his arm action to a short arm action because
Yes.
his body and his type delivery was for arm action. He used to be very, very fast on his front side. His lead arm was very short and his arm was always too long. When they did that, that arm action went good because his front side and then there is a relationship between that. And there are some things that you got to see with the kids when they start. When MLB asked me to go to see how is baseball in places where we don't have big leaguers, because that was one thing I asked. They asked me, you want to go to Dominican Republic? You want to be there in Mexico? No, I want to go where nobody thinks there are big leaguers, where nobody thinks we can get a pitcher to big leagues. And that's why when I started to go to Costa Rica, Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, to those places to see what is happening there. So,
And Marco, let me ask you, because I think this is important, because we talk about how important coaches are. Here you are, you're in these countries, you're going to work with coaches. So talk about when we first start off with a young player. You know, I would think it's important to make sure they throw correctly first before you go into pitching. But talk about how you might teach that and what you're telling the coaches, what you're showing the coaches, so they know how to teach the young kids to throw correctly.
exactly. You know, I have a great mentor. First, one of them is Eliodoro Arias. He's one of the great coaches in Dominican Republic. He was a coach of Pedro Martinez back there in Dominican Republic. And the other mentor I have is Rick Knapp. He used to be with, I spent a lot of time with them and we talk a lot of things. Most of the things I know about teaching coaches, like you said on the first thing in the show, that if we don't have good coaches, we cannot have good athletes. We have athletes with natural born abilities, but we have to develop skills. And we need to have good coaches. And that's the thing that when MLB tells, okay, Marco, you go teach the proper way to throw the ball and then to work with pitchers. Then, because there's one thing. And then there's one guy asked me over there in Argentina, why did I send a pitching coach? We need a guy that tell us how to hit. Yes, but if I told him this, but if you don't have something to throw a good ball to you, you will not ever hit a ball. First, you got to see a quality pitch, a strike, in order to make a good swing. But nobody moves if no one's throw a good pitch.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a guy that cannot throw strikes, there's not going to be a ball game. It's going to be bored, and everybody's going to go home. Come on, no, we couldn't hit that guy. Nobody can throw a ball. So
And
that's why
and people wonder why kids quit baseball sometimes. That's one of the reasons.
Exactly. If you know how to throw a ball the proper way, you're going to throw it over there. You're going to have command, and then there's going to be a guy that's going to be swinging to the ball, and then you got a ball game. So that's why the importance to know how to throw a ball. So I talk about with the coaches the fragmentation of that delivery. We're going part by part. And first of all, we need to teach the kid the proper way to have a grip on the ball. The proper way, using the 3 fingers. One day we talk about that. There's a phenom here, and then I got my theory, my personal theory, that is having some problems with the kids now, because the smartphones and the games and the video games are doing that. The grip on the ball is just like this, like 4 fingers, not with 3, like this, because we want the wrist that is more flexible, like the Japanese do. I love it. I love the Japanese, the way they use the wrist, but the grip is perfect with the Japanese. But we got a lot of problems now with kids because they do this. They do with the 4 fingers like this. And I call it the zombie ball because it doesn't have rotation, it's dead.
Mm.
And then I practice. I tell the coaches, first of all, you need to teach the kids to do the proper way to have a ball to get the grip. If they're not, it's not big enough, that hand, use the 3 fingers, but it's good to be in top of it and then work on that, just like this. That's the thing. And then how to be, it has to be fun. I know it has to be fun. It doesn't have to be bored. And then we say, okay, the one that hits on the chest, it got 10 points. And I say 5 step on the throwing program, you're gonna start throwing this. We used to do this. Boom, boom, use the wrist. Learn how to use the wrist. If you don't have a proper grip, the ball is not going the right way. And then you're gonna realize you need to do it. So that's the thing, how we start. Proper grip, then arm action, then lead arm. So I go part by part. What is the function on each part of the body in order to do a quality delivery?
On the arms, you're making sure that those are equal. Whatever the arms
Yes.
do, they have to do the same.
Yeah, you cannot be short with this and long with this.
Right. And then you
So
look, then you
short
go
with,
down to the feet.
yes, sir. My feet on the balance, we got to do leg finish as a pitcher when we start doing. So the alignment is so important. So that's the thing that it helps you. First, your foot that is got to be aligned. The one that has to be aligned is the one that is on your support foot. That your how do you call the ball that is on your feet?
Balls of your feet.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, the balls on your feet are settled the proper way because there is a problem here in Latin America and in little leagues everywhere. All the mounds have a big hole always.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And then all the kids, they don't have proper balance, and then you have to get them to put their feet in a proper place. The feet has to be planted the right way. Yeah. And then you go. And then you start with your balance. When you do your balance, we talk to the kids, okay, keep your balance and flex your support knee a little bit. That's it. And then do the leg finish. That's one of the things that is really important and it makes a big difference. Leg finish is that when your leg of your balance go down, your knee is not going towards the home plate. Your knee gotta get down and then you start your weight transfer. Then you go. See, if you don't do leg finish, you do your balance, your knee goes up, and then you start going to the home plate. You're gonna open your knee and your hip is gonna open, and that happens a lot with the kids. So your arm is not gonna do all the right thing to do a good arm action because you gotta rush to throw the ball because you open early. Your front side is open, your front side is rushing. That's the most important thing for the kids from 5 or the one that is learning 5 to 8 years old, 10 years old, the things that we teach to the coaches, focus on the grip, on the lead arm that goes to the front, the alignment. And then if it's a pitcher, do the balance, finish your leg, finish up your leg, and then go towards home. The other kids is just like that. And what we do to help those kids to get a good habit on the arm action, we say, okay, pull the bucket. Have you ever pulled a bucket of, well, I say here in Mexico and Latin America, pull a bucket of beers? How do you do that? Like that. You can do that 1,000 times and no problema. Pull the bucket. And then you go there from there and then you throw. Later on, if they do like this, I used to do it, and all our coaches told me, do the circle, complete circle, and get to 90 degrees here. Yes. And I said, do it 100 times and see how your shoulder is going to tell you, hey, everybody's going to come here. Yes. If you do this, you're going to come here. Why don't we do it from here?
Right.
Doing this. Just like that. Because you're going to come here anyhow. If you see all the pictures, we check a lot of videos, we check a lot of stuff and say, yeah, do this. You can do that. It's good. But for kids, there's one thing. It's like an economical way to get on top of the ball, on the proper way of the shoulder and elbow position. Later, they're going to do this, but they're going to be on time to throw the ball. We do that to the kids.
And I think you said the key word there, and that is be on time. You know, just like hitting, you got to be on time. I got to ask, in Mexico, you know, there's a lot of players, young ages, all over Mexico. And, you know, I've had the privilege of being there 20, 30 times just for baseball. What are you guys doing in Mexico? If you are, anything different at the younger levels to make sure kids' arms are healthy? You know, they're not pitching too much. Because one key that you said earlier that I did not mention, I thought was a big key when you talked about the academies. You're practicing more than you're playing games. A lot of great countries practice more than games. What I'm seeing here in the U.S. at the young levels is we're playing way too many games and we're not practicing enough. And that's going to be detrimental for the long-term development. So in Mexico, what are you guys doing for your kids when it comes to pitching? Special rules, strengthening, to make sure that they're, you know, that they're reducing the ability to get an injury.
Yes, it's happening that. There was a phenom too that we used to play more than train. That's why you said in Mexico is like a big time on little league tournaments, because we play a lot. Kids learn to bunt the ball, to hit and run, to make squeeze plays, to do a lot of stuff because we used to do that. But there's like 10 years ago when academies start to show up, we get to see more scouts here in Mexico. You said that pitching, in terms of pitching, there's the tradition, because it started with Fernando, and we know with all those guys here in Culiacan. Here in Culiacan, we got Julio Rias, Victor Alvarez, Oliver Perez, all lefties, pitchers. So when you get a role model, you get to see the kids on TV like, oh, and they want to be like them, so they want to pitch. It's a tradition that kids develop, like to be pitchers, and then coaches, most of coaches used to be pitchers. So we get to see more pitchers signed from Mexico. Nowadays it's changing, because now you see guys like the other kid Urias that is playing too, that position player. You get to see some other kids that are playing the big leagues. And then if we don't have a role model or an example of a kid that I can play third base in major leagues, like a Mexican, it's easily. When a scout come here, they come to see for pitchers and catchers sometimes. Once in a while, they'll get an infielder or an outfielder. Yeah, we got Vinicio Castilla. Yeah. So that's the thing. I used to have that number, but 70% of the guys that are signed here in Mexico are pitchers. 73% of the guys are pitchers.
Right.
So that's why it's different. I spent 1 month in Curacao in a project from MLB, an EDP program we have in Curacao, and it's different there because they get to see more guys from Curacao position players. So the example of the kids they see on the TV, they say, I want to be like Didi Gregorius. So they get to be prepared more for position players. So what happened here in Mexico? There is a new generation of coaches that are retiring from baseball. Some of them used to be in minor league in the U.S. So they learn a lot of things about the proper way of training, programs, developing. So it used to be that old school here is play baseball, play baseball, and play baseball. That has been changing. So you get to see coaches here doing a program, getting athletes first to develop as an athlete, then later baseball. See? So that's the thing, is being a game changer here. We get to see more kids sign it with big bonus because we're getting more athletes first. And then I remember you always said this, kids need to play 2 or 3 different sports, basketball, football, whatever, and then baseball, and that's going to help them do that a lot. And it
Yeah,
is happening here. We play different sports. We play soccer, we
that's
play
changing
volleyball.
now. In the old days, they only played baseball. Now they're starting to play multi-sports.
Exactly.
So you're seeing better athletes. Boy, when that starts to really grow, you're going to see a lot more Mexican players in professional baseball in the U.S.
Exactly. And there's another theory that, well, it's not a theory, it's a fact. Mexicans, when they used to go to minor leagues, and then when something was difficult for them over there, they came back. And they came back, why? Because they came back to play Mexican League, they came back to play semi-pro leagues. We have a lot of leagues of baseball here that if you get signed, as long as you get signed, you get famous here, and you get big money here playing in Mexico. It's different from guys from Venezuela and Dominican that they don't have like summer leagues that you can get paid $12,000 a month, $13,000 a month, $15,000 a month. If they go back home, there's nothing to do because they don't have summer leagues like Mexican League, even though we have here, if you know, a league here in Chihuahua, state league, semi-pro there. There are some guys that are earning like $10,000 a month for 3 games a week.
Wow, I need to come to Mexico. I think I can still throw.
you can pitch. You can pitch.
That's right. Pitch, I don't know. Throw, yes.
I wanted to play there too. And there's a lot of money because it's a well-organized league, and they have real nice, like A-ball stadiums, beautiful, a lot of people there. And they don't want to go to pro ball. They just take their home with their sweethearts and everything there. And why should I be earning $800 in rookie league over there?
Right.
And then over there in Great Falls, Montana, with a lot of calls being in my home.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the Mexican, but that is changing. That is changing. So we have a program. We had a program here in Culiacan with elite development program with MLB, and we work into that mental process of get them to be hunger to play in the big leagues. Not only to go to, and not only to play in the big leagues, to be a start. Not only, okay, yes, I pitched 1 inning, 3 innings, 1 season. No. If you're going to be there, you're going to make a difference. So we say, we're going to send our best because you're going to be good enough to get 20,000 more people in the ballpark looking for you, all the Mexican guys that are in Chicago, that are in Colorado. Get those guys into the ballpark. Quality baseball players we need there.
Wow. So you're talking about an elite development program to get guys motivated mentally. So when they go to the U.S., their goal is to get to the major leagues. Now, your psychology background comes into an important level there. It helps you a lot.
Yeah. The mental thing about, there are 3 parts. We get some mental strength work with them. The type of ambition they have to play in the big leagues. What is your motivation to be a baseball player, play in the big leagues? Why? Because of the money, because of the fame, or just because being there a big league? So we get them to put the priorities in order. If you're a good ball player and get to the big leagues, money will come and fame will come too. But if you're thinking first on the money and the fame, you're going to realize baseball is ahead of you. So first of all, we get them. You will be competing with guys that are working 24/7 now in different things to improve the game and to get to the next level. So if you want to compete and you see yourself being there for your family, for your friends, and for you, you got to get ready in different types of situations. And the other thing, what will you do when you get your money?
Mm.
And there's one thing we talk about a lot. Oh, and then a lot of kids, oh, I'm gonna buy a big truck and I'm gonna be on my casa sightseeing around and with senoritas and all the stuff. And they said, okay, that is good and that is important, that will come. But remember this, one thing takes you to another thing, and be smart. If you play baseball and do the right thing, everything will come behind you. So we get them to get the idea of consequences of your actions. What will happen if this? What will happen? And we do a lot of real examples of Mexican ball players that used to be real good and they did that type of decisions, and what happened to them and where are they now and what are they doing now? And the example of the guys that did the right thing and what are they doing now and what happened to them with the type of decisions they made up when they got signed. So that part, it was very good for us to do so. And, and we did we did a great thing with that program for 2 years. That program worked out because we have like an agreement with the government of the state of Sinaloa. And then, you know how politics it is. We couldn't keep going with the program for administration stuff, but we're hopefully to get a new program again when pandemic is over and with a good quality things of the experience we have with that program. In that program, we got 46 kids. 34 out of the 46 signed with Mexican League teams, and 6 already signed with Major League teams in 2 years.
Wow.
That was good, and I was very happy to be there as a field coordinator. I had a great team. Kim and G and Chris Haydot helped us to do that program with all the collaboration of MLB, and they came here to see our program. It was a real good program to have, and was like an example of development. And you know what we did? Coaches from Little League, we invite them to see our program, to see how we train, like internship, to do internship. So we gave them baseball gear, baseball material, so they do that in the Little Leagues. We used to go to Little Leagues, and now we're trying to do that again when this is all over.
Awesome. Hey, shout out to Chris Haydock, Major League Baseball. You know, obviously Major League Baseball, you know, they're constantly evolving and they're learning, and they've done some great work. And this is awesome stuff because they're educating now players that they signed before they get to the U.S. I remember in the old days, players used to come over, you know, at 16, 18 years old, have no idea anything about money, education, nothing. And now you're preparing them for that Major League Baseball lifestyle, which, if not prepared, could get you in some trouble. So I love it. Now, listen, Marco, we got about 10 more minutes in the show. I want to ask you in Mexico, not just in Mexico, because everywhere around the world, we know this. If we just mentioned it, if we don't have good coaches, we're not going to have a good program. But coaches need to keep players motivated. And I know the word is fun, and everybody says fun, but fun, everybody can say it, but you still have to know how to do it. My question is, what do you teach coaches at the very young levels in order to keep the kids interested in the game? Because the game can be boring. I don't care what anybody says. You know, you say, oh, well, if you love baseball, it can still be boring because it's slow, especially if you're a kid. So what do you tell coaches to try to do so that way kids don't leave the game because they're no longer interested because it is boring? What do you do?
I do this a lot. Mostly on when the kid is initiating his first day of uh, just remember this. You gotta have a good relationship with parents, because kids
Mm,
uh, they're very sensible about what parents project take when they do a good thing and when they do a bad thing. If they miss a ball, they struck out or something, and say, first of all, when you're doing competition or training, you got to celebrate anything that happens. If you miss the ball, if you miss the fly, if you struck out, even if you hit a ball and you got out, you got to make a party out of it. You got to
mm,
celebrate each thing that happens, because you got to relate that is everything that is happening on the game is good, regardless of the result. If you're losing or winning either way, you got to celebrate the individual situation of what is happening in the game. There's one kid that struck out 4 times in a game. 4 year old, 5 year old, because they're playing in that age. 6, 7. If he hit a ball and if he hit it good, you got to celebrate with him that was a good thing. And you know something, when he goes with his parent or papa or mama on the car, you see that how did I hit the ball? It was very good. And that's the thing they gotta focus on. Focus on the good thing, not on the result of the game.
mm.
And then you gotta celebrate that. You gotta celebrate each uh, good action that happened. So the things that it will happen, because they're going to throw balls all around. They're going to it doesn't matter. It will happen. It is going to be there always. But the good thing, you gotta be like you see how that happened, and then it will come every time you come. You're gonna do it often. You're gonna do it better and better. You concentrate on the positive outcome, whatever the result of the game goes by.
Mm.
That's one of the things. And then the body language for me is one of the most important things of as a coach. If your body language is not showing positive things, it doesn't matter what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you say, if your body language is not communicating positive stuff to whoever is in front of you, nothing will change. You can have good drills that to be so fun, but you gotta be participating in that thing with them, and then you gotta give the proper attention to each kid. See, so that's the thing I tell them mostly.
Love it.
Good body language. Uh, that your parents are your support. Give them your support. That concentrate on the good things, not on the outcome of the result of the game, and celebrate each positive action. Celebrate as the very best of the World Series. That's the thing. And the kid is going to be, you see how did I catch that ball? That was perfect. I love it. It doesn't matter if he threw like 4 more. No, you don't concentrate on that. You concentrate on the positive aspect. And you're going to improve and tell them it's going to get better. Focus until it's going to get better and better and better and better. So you do like neuro-linguistic in those ways to the kids.
I love it. Love it. And, I'm going to paraphrase a good friend of mine, and you mentioned him earlier, Tom House, known him 30 years, loyal, fantastic, one of the best. Tom always
Great
used to
guy.
say,
Great guy.
and I'm going to paraphrase, but he used to say, baseball is a negative game coached by negative people. And because it is sometimes, parents that are volunteers, they mean well, but sometimes they forget, and they're a little bit too negative, especially, with young kids. And baseball is a really difficult sport. It's very hard. If you've played it, it's not easy. Hey, listen, Marco, you've been fantastic, but I want to end it with this. You ran a program as a state police correctional officer. You ran a program for young kids who were in jail, trying to get them out and into and you were able to do that with sports. I want to tell everybody about that program because that's really, really important.
Well, and when I was studying psychology at the University here of Sinaloa, I just went as I wasn't playing anymore. I got injured in my shoulder. I quit playing professional baseball, and then I came to school. I came back to the school, so I needed a job, a mid-time job, and I just went to a place where nobody wanted to be. I went to a place where no one was going to try to take away my job. And I say, I'm gonna go there. You know, I
Wow.
like challenge. I just love challenges. And I say, and those kids, they need to do something. They need to do sports. And then I start studying the benefits of sports in guys that have social problems, drug problems, and all the stuff. And I did my research about that, and that's why I asked for a job over there. They didn't have a physical education teacher, and I started over there at the correctional here in Culiacan in Sinaloa. And you know, there's this a famous thing about my state. We have a lot of positive things. We have things that we're not too proud of. You know, it's like the the word drug dealers and narco traffickers and all the stuff is like a cultural thing here,
Mm-hmm.
but they're always a choice. They're always a good way to do things, and sports is one way to do good things and
Yes.
get out of uh, being like a drug dealer, like a sicario, like stuff like that. There's a good thing to do with sports. They're always a good way to get out of those things.
And you've
And
had some
sports
great
is one.
success with the program.
Yes. And you know what happened? I started to find out that the physical profile of quality athlete, mostly on the psychology of the profile of a quality high level athlete, is the same psychological profile of a delinquent. You
Mm.
know why? Because most of them, they're aware that physical and mentally they're up to every challenge. They love challenge. They are defiant. They are physically uh, fitted.
Fearless.
So yeah, in fit, physical fit,
Th-
and they're fearless. So in sports, you need to be a guy that's going to be facing everybody in boxing, in taekwondo, in judo, in whatever you do, and then mostly on contact sports. So we get to see those guys. They have those profiles, and then we bring, and I say, okay, we're gonna do this. They used to be gangs in there, the correctional, and they love soccer over there. And I was on my first day. I said, you cannot mix this gun with this gun because they're gonna kill each other. And I say I was with a ball, with a football soccer, real beautiful new soccer ball, and I say, and I was walking all around, and they saw me from the where they were and in there, and I say, hey, what are you gonna do with that ball? Well, I want to have a football game. So I want to play. No, you cannot play because if you put it, I put you outside there, and with those guys, you're gonna kill each other. And then I did that for 1 week. And then
Wow.
as long as they said me, okay, we make a promise. We play football and we can do it without harming the other guys. Okay, but there's one thing we're gonna do. You're gonna play mixed. Not gonna play again versus again. No, I mixed them up and
Wow.
I made them play together in the same team so they get to know each other.
Yeah.
So what thing? They realize the difference they have were not that bad. More that difference was more feared than a thing that was a thing to kill the other guy. So they met each other, they played together. Then I made a football team in there, and I compete in a league that they came from the outside, and we were champions on
Wow.
football soccer. So later I became like a scout for football for the professional team, and I took two kids to the professional team here in Culiacan. and one of them was selected to go to the first team.
Wow.
And you know, a lot of good things happen. Two kids, I sent them to the professional basketball team. One kid was a medal on the youth Olympics in judo, and that team, and they realized that I can travel around the world, I can win scholarships, I can have a different life by sports. And that's the thing I did over there for 5 years in the correctional. That's
Wow.
that
Well,
program.
let me tell you, God bless you for that, because, you know, people deserve a second chance. And not only that, this is like a made for movie story. I mean, what a great story. That should be a movie. You know, I don't know if that's going to be something coming up.
I saw a movie later that the kids.
Marco, you there? I think we lost Marco. He was moving around too much. We will be right back if you're on Facebook. That was Marco Mendoza. And listen, I may close it off here. Want to thank all of you in the U.S. and around the world for joining us. We will try to get Marco back on. Remember, do us a favor, join us on Facebook when the shows are live, but also go to subscribe and subscribe to the show. And that's on YouTube at Peter Caliendo. And the audio will go on baseballoutsidethebox.com. We'll have an ending to this show, but we are going to close it off for right now. Unless Marco gets right back on, then we can edit the show for YouTube. While we're doing that, Marco will jump back on, it looks like. While we're doing that, let me tell you, Caliendo Sports International is heading to Cuba, Havana, Cuba in December, Christmas break, 16, 15, 14-year-olds. What a great program this is. We'll talk about international, educational, cultural. We're going to practice with the Cuban teams, compete against them. So if you're a player or a coach, want to recommend a player, want to join as a player, have your families get a hold of us at caliendo19@gmail.com. I'm going to tell you, I've been in the business a long time. Nothing like it in the world when you can experience international competition. And actually, we practice with the Cuban players also. It is outstanding. What a cultural, what a great experience it is. So we're looking forward to that in December. And don't forget, we're also going to have teams going to Japan, Italy, Holland, Cuba, Dominican Republic in the summer of 2021, August. And we're heading to Japan. That's going to be a great one, too. So if you want to join us, don't forget, just get a hold of us, caliendo19@gmail.com. We're excited about that. Anything else, we'll let you know. Keep watching all the Major League games. We think they're great. Send us an email what you think about the rules of Major League. I love the man on second rule. I love the DH. I love the double headers. You know, I'm probably outside the norm. We've been watching a lot of social media, and there's a lot of guys that obviously are not thrilled about some of those rules. I can tell you right now, the DH is going to be there to stick around. I'm not sure about the man on second extra inning rule. We implemented the extra inning rule in Beijing 2008. When I say we, at that time, the International Baseball Federation, now the World Baseball Softball Confederation, governing body of the sport worldwide. We implemented that in Beijing. It was fantastic, went well. The idea is, so we're not watching 18-inning games, reducing your pitching, and it really helped, no doubt about it. And listen, to our players, if you're not playing, watch Major League games, but watch it from a perspective of learning from it. Watch what the runners do. Watch what the pitchers are doing. Watch what hitters do. Watch defense, cutoff and relays. There's so much to learn. You can look at some good things. You can look at some bad things also, so you can learn from everybody. And you can really pick it up. You can pick up things that they do. You know, I was watching Tim Anderson the other day. What was he doing? On a breaking ball, he actually moved up a little bit, but he did it at the right time. He felt a breaking ball was coming. He had some pretty good knowledge of it. What did he do? He hit the ball really well, and that was for a double. So, folks, I want to thank you for joining us. Again, Marco Mendoza, thank you for being on the show. We loved it. Great show. Don't forget, join us on the next show. I'm your host, Pete Caliendo. God bless you all, and we'll see you on the next show.